Here we go. Okay, folks, this is the Q&A panel for the beautiful film, The Great Director. Very, very humbled and happy that I got this again this year. This is Samuel's second project that he brought to me. So thank you so much for bringing it to my attention. I want to start off by talking about you being in Germany and you're only 19 years old. Somebody is going to watch this today and they're 19 years old and they're thinking, there's no way that I could do what you do. Award-winning director and writer. What would you say to that?
I think that's not true. I think that, so I mean, obviously this is going to sound incredibly cliche to say, but like really the most important things for like making, and obviously I'm not incredibly experienced myself, but from what I have seen, the most important things are really just having something that you really, a story that you really want to tell, a message or a feeling that you really want to put into a film, and
Yes.
then just using what you have to the best of your abilities.
Yeah.
Because everybody has something that they can use if you figure out how to use what you have creatively. Whether it be, someone who has like certain talents or just living in a place that could look very good for a certain story, or knowing where you can go,
Mhm.
where it's free and where you won't need to pay for the location. All these ways to make really cool films without necessarily needing too much money for it.
Right. Money's
If
always a
it's
thing.
just about like sort of creatively using what you have.
Mhm. You bet. Now, Charisse, on the opposite side of the fence, I found out something fascinating about you. I had no idea that you were originally from my home state of Wisconsin. How did you end up going from here all the way over to there?
Oh, you're a cheesehead.
I am
Yay.
a cheesehead. Well, I'm not a big
Cheeseheads
Packer
of the
fan, but
world.
yes.
Yeah, well, I actually, my main profession is as a violinist,
Yes.
and I work in an orchestra over here in Germany.
Mhm.
And it's a great orchestra, and Germany is a lovely place to be involved with culture.
Well, and more importantly, I think Germany is just so rich, period. I mean, it's beautiful countryside. It's a whole different way of living. Internationally speaking, things are done so differently. Is there anything you miss about Wisconsin?
Oh, loads of stuff. I love
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's this whole
We
sense of
visited in the summer.
yeah, we were just there in the summer, and there's this whole sense of everybody helps their neighbor,
Mm.
and if
Yes.
you go into the shop and the shop doesn't have what you want, they'll say, "Oh, wait, I think my friend Liz, she works at this store like a couple of streets down. I'll call her. Maybe they have it," And that's the
Ah,
kind of
yes.
thing that you just never get in Germany. It's a completely different culture in Wisconsin, at
Yes,
least from my
it
experience.
is. We're all very nice people. I mean, I think, and we tend to help each other out. We're very giving and caring folks. And next time you come into town, maybe you should call me. I mean, hello, I would have loved to have met you guys. That would have been neat.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Sam, I know in the past that you've done some film judging. So every judge is very different and they look for things. I might see things a little differently than you. So as a younger judge, what is the number one thing that you keep running into, either positive or negative, when it comes to what you are watching on film?
Well, so I think I should probably start out by saying I haven't done like enough or for as long that I feel like I don't know. My opinion shouldn't be given too much weight, but
Oh,
I
okay.
when I was doing that, I do think I feel like the only thing that really stuck out to me as a consistent thing that people could maybe improve on was that I felt like a lot of the projects that I was seeing at because this is where I did like this judging thing, was
Yeah.
at the German National Youth Film Festival.
Okay.
And there I saw a lot of people submitting things that didn't feel very personal. It didn't feel like they were really like thinking of something that they want to make. They're just kind of making what they thought of as the cookie cutter film.
Sure.
Like everything from the structure to the genre to how it was executed. Even if it was technically very well done in some cases, it was often just kind of like, oh, the generic horror template. Like
Yes.
kind of making films by template. And I don't mean necessarily that you need to like make every film be an expression of some deep part of you or something. I my films are definitely not like that.
Okay.
But I do feel like it just the my favorite films when judging were the ones where I felt like somebody sat down and said, this is something that I really want to make. I've
Mhm.
never seen a film like this, or maybe I have, but I feel like I can do something differently. I feel like I can do something that I really want to see, I would want to watch.
Yeah.
And then they execute it in a way that is distinctly theirs and not just like following the template.
That makes perfect sense, actually. And I kind of use the same guideline. Obviously, it gets a little different as you age and you do many, many, many films. You see all sorts of different things, especially with yours, too. I think that in watching the last film you made and this one, there's definite stretches and changes and things that I see that you're expressing differently. So that's good.
Mm.
Also, I wanted to ask about how do you express yourself in that notebook? Because I see that doodling that you do. And I'm like, I'm curious if that's a process for you, as in like the doodling leads to something, or if it's just a stress relief.
Oh, I mindlessly doodle no matter what situation I'm in. Whether I'm like I doodle when I'm stressed to relieve stress. I doodle when I'm relaxed to feel more relaxed. I
Ah,
doodle when I'm not thinking about anything. I doodle when I'm thinking too much. It's just something that I do all the time.
I understand. I get it. I do. Okay, Cherise, next question I have for you is I had no idea you are the coolest mom in the world. My kids love D&D, no clue how to do it, but yet you play it. So hats off to you. So I'm like, are you doing this to be the cool mom or do you totally get into the D&D factor?
Well, I definitely don't do it to be a cool mom.
Okay.
I played a little bit of D&D when I was in high school, but really very little. And
Okay.
then my younger son, who is actually also in the film, he plays the audio engineer.
Yeah.
He really got into D&D. And so I thought it would be kind of fun because I really like role playing, and things like that. It's kind of like acting and whatever. And we had a great time just goofing off because I mean, when we played D&D together, it was
Mhm.
definitely not like a serious D&D game at
Okay.
all. We were basically just goofing off together and having fun, making jokey role things and
Dumbledore the Dumb.
right,
That's
exactly, making up
I,
the dumbest names we could possibly for every character. So,
I get
yeah,
you.
it was a great way to goof off together.
Very, very nice. I also wanted to ask, in all of the research that I did, I was given the impression that your father was incredibly impactful and inspirational to you, or is. Can you talk to me a bit about that?
Wow. Yeah, my dad died 11 years ago,
Yeah,
but he was very, very inspirational to me. He was a professor of philosophy, but I think um, he also just had the most infectious laugh of anyone on the planet. And he was very, very, very supportive of everything that I ever did. And he it's not easy, I think, for some parents to accept that their child wants to go out and become a musician because a lot of
yeah,
people kind of think, yeah, but how are you going to earn your money? And that doesn't seem like a very safe career choice
yeah.
and this kind of thing. So I was extremely grateful to my dad and also my mom. Of course, they both really supported me through all my schooling and I started playing violin very young. And so when Sam also started writing his first plays for us to act in as a family when he was 4, I felt like I needed to pass on that support to him. So
Aw.
I think that my dad, if he's looking down on us today, he would be very happy to see that we're just passing down his love through the next generations and trying to, also just let artists go out and do what they love. I'm a big believer in that.
Absolutely. I don't know. I also have another question because you and I are similar in that we both do interviews. And I love the fact I have this notation here listed that you usually do handwritten interview notes. And in fact, I have cue cards. You can't see them, but I literally have them. So uh, uh, I'm just wondering because every writer does things differently. Do you find that that helps? Because I know for sure that I can't remember anything, especially with 55 films. Or is there a method to that? Like I know there's a lot of people that utilize that skill.
I am definitely a very rambling interviewer. I will have my set of questions that I have prepared, but
Yep.
if I go off track with the interview, I actually really love that. And I find that there's some of my best quotes for pieces that I write come from having really gone off track from what I planned for the
Sure.
interview. And but when I'm taking notes, like handwritten notes, I also find that I remember the feeling of the interview really well. And
Yeah.
when I was recording interviews, because I do a lot of also online stuff like this, I had the feeling that everybody was a little bit more self-conscious,
Uh-huh.
and not quite as free to just say whatever they felt like in the moment. And so, yeah, I really enjoy just doing very informal, rambling interviews with handwritten notes.
Nice. Very nice. Now, Sam, before we start to talk about the movie, I wanted to mention this. I know that there are two things. First off, minimal takes on a set, and number two, the usage of analog film. So I want to talk about both of those. That's not something I come across with a youth filmmaker. Usually it's more of a seasoned person that's just like, okay, you know what, we're going to do this one or two takes, we're done. But you're younger, and so you're able to cut a film like that, you're able to put it together in that way. Um, how? What's the secret here? Because I'm amazed at that.
Well, I mean, so that's actually maybe in part comes down to the fact that I didn't start out with like digital filmmaking and then have to switch over. My very first film, I was actually at first a little bit apprehensive about the idea, but I was eventually convinced to try out making it on
Sure.
16 millimeter. And afterwards, I mean, just convinced me because even though I insisted on desaturating that one, which
Okay.
made some big fans of like the colors of film, which I like the way that a film shows color too, but that made especially my stepdad, who really likes the color of film, made him a little bit sad that I had to take away some of that color.
Yeah.
But as far as like when it actually comes down to the workflow goes, but I'm such a so I'm a little bit out of it. I've been having some allergic reactions recently.
Oh no, you poor
Um,
thing.
no, it's nothing bad. I'm just like anyway.
I get it. I totally get it.
So yes, workflow.
So the
So
great, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say that like so that's actually one of the things that I really like about analog film. So
Mhm.
aside from the colors and the shadows, which have been great for some films, especially the one that I did before this one, The Holding Room.
Yeah.
The one thing that has always been very consistently helpful is actually the fact that we do so few takes. We
Mhm.
can't afford to do more, but it kind of gives it. I've made this comparison a few times. It gives it almost the feeling of doing a live performance, I think,
Mm.
for everybody on set,
Yeah.
because they know you tell them we can't do infinite takes of this. We do many rehearsals and one take, maybe two if we really screw the first one up. Um,
Okay.
and because of that, they know, oh, okay, we can't like we can't just like do it many times and eventually we'll do one where it will be good enough.
Yeah.
We only get one chance, we need to give it our all. And you get that kind of live performance effect where everyone when people hear, all right, we're actually filming this time, everyone kind of switches into full gear for that one big take. And I
Sure.
think actually it's a workflow that it's a workflow that suits me personally, and I think it
Okay.
also results in some really great shots.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're about to talk about that as a matter of fact. So, I'm going to stop the recording real quick because